If you're over 60 and drink coffee every day, this video could literally change how you feel tomorrow morning. Because here's the truth most people don't realize. Not all coffee is the same. Some types of coffee are silently draining your minerals, stressing your adrenal glands, inflaming your gut, and accelerating aging without you even noticing. The good news? There are 4 types of coffee you should avoid, and 4 that can actually support your brain, liver, metabolism, and longevity, but only if you use them correctly. After 60, your body no longer forgives the mistakes it once did. Coffee is one of the most misunderstood daily habits. Many people assume coffee is harmless or even beneficial, but science shows that the type of coffee you drink can either protect your brain and muscles or quietly accelerate inflammation, mineral loss, and cellular aging. Let's start with instant coffee, one of the most common and one of the most dangerous forms. Instant coffee isn't just brewed coffee that's dried. It's coffee that has been ultra-heated, chemically processed, and stripped of protective antioxidants. Often, it's stored for long periods, allowing toxic compounds to form. One of these compounds is acrylamide, a neurotoxin created when foods are exposed to high heat. Studies show that acrylamides increase oxidative stress and damage nerve cells. Older brains are particularly vulnerable because natural antioxidant defenses decline with age. What your body could neutralize in your 40 seconds now accumulates silently in your 60 seconds. Instant coffee is also a major source of mycotoxins, toxic byproducts from mold. These molds don't always make you sick immediately. Instead, they inflame the gut lining, disrupt immune signaling, and contribute to brain fog, joint stiffness, and unexplained fatigue symptoms many assume are just normal aging. They're not. Often, they're chemical exposure masquerading as age. Next is flavored coffee, which may be even worse. Vanilla, caramel, hazelnut, or mocha flavors rarely come from real food. They're synthetic chemicals, often petroleum-derived, designed to trick your taste receptors. Research shows these additives disrupt gut bacteria, which are critical for regulating inflammation, neurotransmitter production, and immune balance. After 60, gut diversity naturally declines, and artificial flavors accelerate this collapse. This explains why older adults experience higher rates of chronic inflammation, anxiety, and insulin resistance, even when they eat what seems like a normal diet. Flavored coffees also hide sugars and insulin-spiking additives under vague labels. Every spike damages blood vessels. Every insulin surge accelerates brain aging, contributing to what researchers now call type 3 diabetes or Alzheimer's disease. Then there's dark roast coffee, another trap. People assume darker means stronger or healthier, but over-roasting destroys polyphenols, the compounds that protect your heart and brain, and replaces them with bitter chemicals that irritate the stomach and overstimulate adrenal glands. After 60, stomach acid production declines. Dark roast coffee worsens digestion, reduces mineral absorption, and increases reflux. This leads to deficiencies in calcium, magnesium, and zinc minerals, essential for muscle strength, bone density, and nerve stability. Finally, the most destructive coffee is dessert-style coffee loaded with sugar, sweetened milk, and flavored syrups. These turn coffee into a metabolic weapon. Repeated blood sugar spikes damage blood vessels, accelerate brain shrinkage, and increase dementia risk. After 60, insulin sensitivity naturally declines, making it even harder for the body to handle sugar. Daily sugary coffee creates constant inflammation that silently erodes joints, eyesight, memory, and cardiovascular health. Here's the critical point. It's not caffeine that's the problem. It's the form in which caffeine is delivered. Coffee, combined with toxins, sugar, and inflammatory additives, forces the body into survival mode. Cortisol rises, minerals are pulled from bones and muscles, and the nervous system becomes overstimulated, then crashes. Over time, this accelerates sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss, a major predictor of early mortality after 60. What's terrifying is that these effects don't appear overnight. They build silently over years. Your liver detox pathways slow, kidneys filter less efficiently. The brain becomes more sensitive to inflammation. What once felt harmless now becomes cumulative damage. The science is clear. Aging bodies need clean inputs. Antioxidants without toxins, stimulation without sugar, energy without inflammation. Bad coffee violates all three. Most people never connect their joint pain, memory slips, muscle weakness, or sleep problems to the cup they drink every morning. This isn't fear-mongering, it's awareness. Coffee itself isn't the enemy. Low-quality, chemically altered, sugar-laden coffee is. After 60, every daily habit either pushes you towards strength and clarity or quietly accelerates decline. Coffee is one of the easiest habits to fix and one of the most powerful to get right. When you do, the difference isn't subtle. People report clearer thinking, steadier energy, reduced inflammation, better digestion, and improved mood in days, not years. That's because the body finally stops fighting what you put into it. And this is why understanding which coffees to avoid after 60 isn't optional, it's foundational. Aging well isn't about adding more supplements. It's about removing the silent stressors draining your system daily, starting with the cup you reach for every morning. After 60, your brain, liver, and metabolism enter a fragile phase. Small daily choices now matter far more than dramatic interventions. Extremes don't work well anymore, but precision does. And this is where the right kind of coffee, prepared correctly, becomes one of the most underestimated tools for protecting your aging body. Most people don't realize that coffee is one of the richest sources of antioxidants in the modern diet. In fact, it often provides more protective compounds than fruits and vegetables combined. But here's the catch. This benefit only exists when coffee is clean, properly roasted, and free from toxins. When that happens, coffee stops being just a stimulant, it becomes a daily neurological and metabolic shield. Let's start with the brain. After 60, the brain is extremely vulnerable to oxidative stress. Free radicals attack neurons, disrupt neurotransmitter signaling, and accelerate memory loss. But antioxidants in high-quality coffee, particularly chlorogenic acids, neutralize these free radicals before they damage brain tissue. These compounds also improve blood flow to the brain, enhance synaptic signaling, and reduce neuroinflammation, a key driver of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Long-term studies consistently show that people consuming clean, high-quality coffee have a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline. And this isn't because caffeine wakes you up, it's because antioxidants protect your neurons while reducing inflammation. Next is the liver, your body's hardest working organ. It filters toxins, regulates hormones, processes medications, and manages blood sugar. Naturally, liver efficiency declines with age, leaving older adults more sensitive to chemicals, alcohol, and medications. Organic, mold-free coffee protects liver cells, reduces fat accumulation, and lowers the risk of fibrosis and cirrhosis. Coffee even increases glutathione, the body's master antioxidant, which drops dramatically as we age. When glutathione is low, toxins accumulate faster, inflammation rises, and energy production slows. Clean coffee supports these processes instead of overwhelming them. Now, consider metabolism. After 60, insulin sensitivity declines, muscle mass drops, and fat storage increases even when calorie intake remains the same. High-quality coffee improves metabolic flexibility by enhancing insulin sensitivity and promoting fat oxidation. Chlorogenic acids in light to medium roast coffee slow glucose absorption in the gut, reducing blood sugar spikes. Stable blood sugar lowers inflammation, protects joints, sharpens brain function, and supports muscle recovery. Coffee can be even more effective when paired with healthy fats, like grass-fed butter or MCT oil, but never sugar. Older brains often struggle to use glucose efficiently, but they can still utilize ketones. Fat-enhanced coffee provides a steady fuel source for the brain, improving focus, mood, and mental stamina without overstimulating the nervous system. Timing also matters. Coffee early in the day supports your circadian rhythm, boosting cortisol naturally for alertness and motivation. Coffee late in the day, however, can disrupt sleep, suppress melatonin, and accelerate cognitive decline. Deep sleep is when the brain clears waste proteins linked to dementia. So, protecting sleep is critical. Here's what's shocking. Many benefits of coffee increase with age if the coffee is clean. Aging bodies absorb antioxidants more efficiently when inflammation is low. Switching from toxic, low-quality coffee to organic, mold-free coffee can produce noticeable improvements in days, not years. People report clearer thinking, less joint stiffness, steadier energy, and better digestion not because they added something new, but because they removed hidden stressors. Coffee has been linked to reduced risk of stroke, type 2 diabetes, depression, and even certain cancers in older adults. But these effects only appear with simple, clean coffee consumed mindfully. Sugary or processed coffee drinks don't provide these benefits. Here's the most important truth. Coffee doesn't make you healthy. It amplifies the state your body is already in. In an inflamed body, bad coffee worsens damage. In a supported body, good coffee enhances resilience. After 60, this amplification effect is stronger because your margin for error is smaller. People who switch to high-quality coffee often feel like they've turned back the clock. Not because coffee reverses age, but because it finally works with your body instead of against it. Your brain receives protection instead of overstimulation. Your liver gets support instead of toxins. Your metabolism gains efficiency instead of chaos. Aging well isn't about doing more, it's about choosing better. And when used intentionally, the right coffee is no longer just a beverage. It becomes a daily act of protection for the organs that matter most. Body processes caffeine more slowly. Liver enzymes that break down caffeine decline, so caffeine can linger 30–50% longer than it did in your younger years. That afternoon cup that once felt harmless can now disrupt sleep without you realizing coffee is the culprit. Sleep is not optional after 60. During deep sleep, the brain activates the glymphatic system, which clears toxic proteins linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. Even a small reduction in deep sleep compromises this cleaning process. Research shows caffeine consumed 6 hours before bedtime can reduce deep sleep quality by more than 20%. This isn't just feeling tired, it's neurological damage happening quietly night after night. Hydration is another silent factor. Coffee is mildly diuretic, and older adults already have a reduced thirst signal. Drinking coffee before water pulls fluids from already stressed cells, making you feel shaky, anxious, or weak. But when coffee is consumed after water, blood volume stabilizes, electrolytes balance, and caffeine enhances alertness instead of triggering stress. Frequency matters too. Sipping coffee all day locks the nervous system into a low-grade fight-or-flight state. Chronic stimulation reduces adenosine sensitivity, preventing your brain from signaling when it's tired. The result? Light, fragmented sleep, exhaustion without rest, and accelerated aging. Moderation is about respecting physiology, not restriction. 1 to 2 cups of coffee, used intentionally, enhance focus, mood, and metabolism. Beyond that, benefits flatten and risks rise sharply, especially in aging bodies. Pair coffee with food or healthy fats to stabilize blood sugar, protect the gut lining, and maximize energy without inflammation. At this stage, coffee stops being just a beverage. It becomes a signal that can either support your circadian rhythm, energy, and metabolism, or push your body towards stress, inflammation, and accelerated aging. Most people don't realize it, but your legs weaken first, long before heart problems, memory loss, or chronic fatigue appear. This isn't just normal aging. It's a warning signal that nutrient deficiencies, insulin resistance, nerve damage, and muscle loss are silently taking hold. Weak legs mean poor circulation. Poor circulation means less oxygen. Less oxygen slows healing, reduces balance, and increases fall risk. Here's the shocking part. Your legs don't weaken primarily because your muscles fail. They weaken because the communication system controlling those muscles breaks down first. Every step you take depends on nerves firing precisely, sending electrical signals from your brain through the spinal cord into your hip, thigh, calf, and foot muscles. When these signals weaken, muscles don't fully activate. Over time, unused muscle fibers shrink, strength disappears, and balance falters. This is called neuromuscular degeneration, and it often starts years, even decades, before symptoms are noticeable. One of the earliest triggers is vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 is crucial for forming the myelin sheath, the protective coating around nerves. Without it, nerve signals slow, distort, or fail entirely. Early signs often appear in the legs as weakness, numbness, tingling, or a dragging sensation. Alarmingly, B12 deficiency is incredibly common, especially after 40, under chronic stress, with digestive issues or high sugar intake, and standard blood tests often miss functional deficiencies until nerve damage has begun. But B12 is only part of the story. Choline deficiency is another silent driver. Choline produces acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that tells muscles to contract. Low choline means weaker signals from brain to muscle, and leg muscles, because of their size and metabolic demand, are affected first. Magnesium, another critical mineral, helps muscles contract and relax. Low magnesium leaves muscles stiff, fatigued, and weak. Then comes insulin resistance, which is often overlooked. High insulin damages nerves and blood vessels long before diabetes develops. Even pre-diabetic adults experience slower nerve conduction in their legs. On top of that, insulin resistance blocks amino acids from reaching muscle cells, halting protein synthesis. The result? Muscle wasting begins in the legs, even when protein intake seems adequate. Weak legs are not a normal part of aging. They're a warning, a sign. Your body is being starved of nutrients, oxygen, and proper signaling. And the good news is that early intervention can reverse this decline, restoring strength, balance, and independence before permanent damage sets in. By now, it's clear that leg weakness isn't just a muscle problem. It's a circulation and inflammation problem first. Your legs are the farthest point from your heart, which makes them particularly vulnerable when blood flow slows or becomes inefficient. Every contraction, every step, every balance adjustment depends on a steady supply of oxygen, glucose, minerals, and nerve signals. When this supply is restricted, muscles weaken, not because they're broken, but because they're being starved. Chronic inflammation is one of the silent thieves of leg strength. Unlike acute pain that demands attention, inflammation whispers. It thickens the blood, damages the endothelium, the lining of blood vessels responsible for producing nitric oxide, and restricts circulation. Nitric oxide is crucial. Without it, blood vessels can't relax properly, oxygen delivery collapses, and legs feel heavy, tight, and fatigued. Reduced nitric oxide is often one of the earliest predictors of mobility decline, long before weakness becomes obvious. High sugar intake accelerates this decline. Within hours of consuming refined carbs, endothelial function drops, blood flow slows, and the legs are temporarily starved of oxygen and nutrients. Over time, repeated sugar exposure makes these effects permanent. Add in insulin resistance, which affects over 80% of adults, including those who aren't overweight, and the problem compounds. High insulin inflames blood vessels, damages nerves, and thickens the blood, making it increasingly difficult for muscles to get what they need. Early signs: cold feet, tingling, numbness, or burning sensations in the calves and feet. These are warning signs, not harmless annoyances. Oxidative stress and mitochondrial damage are another hidden culprit. Your muscles rely on mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells, to contract and sustain movement. Chronic inflammation and free radicals damage mitochondria, leaving muscles fatigued, slow to recover, and weaker. The legs, which contain the largest concentration of mitochondria in the body, suffer first. This explains why even short walks or climbing stairs can feel exhausting. Microvascular damage to the tiny blood vessels feeding nerves and muscles makes the situation even worse. Once these vessels narrow or collapse, recovery is much harder. Poor circulation increases the risk of falls, fractures, and long-term disability. And when movement decreases, inflammation rises even further. Muscle atrophy accelerates, circulation worsens, and the downward spiral speeds up. Chronic dehydration and electrolyte imbalances amplify the problem. Dehydrated blood is thicker, harder to pump, and delivers less oxygen. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium regulate blood volume and vessel tone. Deficiencies in these electrolytes are common with processed foods or overly restrictive diets. When blood flow drops, nerve signals weaken, muscles fail, and strength fades. The good news? This entire process is reversible in its early stages. Blood vessels can regenerate, nitric oxide production can rebound, mitochondria can recover, and muscles can regain strength, but only if the root causes are addressed. Reducing inflammation, stabilizing blood sugar, repairing nerve pathways, and replenishing key nutrients can dramatically restore leg power. Legs are not weak because they're old, they're weak because they've been starved, inflamed, and neglected. Once circulation improves, oxygen flows, nerves fire correctly, and muscles respond. Strength returns faster in the legs than almost any other part of the body because they are metabolically active, richly innervated, and designed for movement. Now that we understand why legs weaken first due to poor circulation, inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, nerve signaling failure, and mitochondrial fatigue, let's focus on how to reverse it. The good news is that the body is remarkably adaptable, and leg muscles respond faster than almost any other part of the body once the right conditions are restored. The first step is nerve repair. Weak leg muscles often aren't failing because of the muscle itself. They're failing because the signals from the brain are weakened. Nerves need specific nutrients to maintain their protective myelin sheath and neurotransmitter function. Vitamin B12, choline, and healthy fats are critical here. Restoring these nutrients supports nerve remyelination and improves signal conduction. Within weeks, tingling, numbness, and the heavy leg sensation often start to fade. People describe it as their legs waking up because literally the nerves are sending proper instructions to the muscles again. Next is muscle rebuilding. After decades of nutrient deficiencies, inactivity, or insulin resistance, muscle protein synthesis can be impaired. This is especially true for the legs, which are the body's largest, most metabolically active muscles. Restoring high-quality protein and leucine-rich foods reactivates dormant growth pathways, including the mTOR pathway, which controls muscle growth. Studies show that even older adults can achieve near-youthful levels of muscle protein synthesis when these nutrients are provided consistently. The result? Stronger legs, improved endurance, and more confident mobility. Circulation must also be restored. Blood flow is dynamic and responds to proper nutrition, hydration, and movement. Nitric oxide production can increase with nutrients like beetroot, citrulline, and antioxidants, while reducing inflammation improves endothelial function. When blood vessels widen and capillaries reopen, oxygen and nutrients reach leg muscles efficiently. The legs become stronger because they are finally fed at the cellular level. Connective tissue is another critical component. Strength isn't just muscle, it's the combination of muscles, tendons, ligaments, fascia, and joints. Supporting collagen synthesis through amino acids, vitamin C, and trace minerals restores elasticity and resilience. This improves joint stability, reduces pain, and allows muscles to generate force safely. Suddenly, tasks that once felt exhausting, climbing stairs, standing from a chair, walking longer distances, become easier and more natural. Here's the most fascinating part. Restoring leg strength creates a positive feedback loop for the entire body. Stronger legs increase daily movement, which boosts circulation, lowers inflammation, and improves insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity reduces chronic stress on nerves and blood vessels, which further supports muscle recovery. In other words, Fixing your legs upgrades your entire metabolism. Research consistently shows that lower body muscle mass is a strong predictor of longevity. People with stronger legs tend to live longer, not because the legs themselves are magical, but because leg strength reflects systemic health, nerve integrity, circulation, nutrient sufficiency, and metabolic efficiency. Your legs are a mirror of your internal health. When they recover, the whole body improves. Timing is also crucial. Nutrient restoration must be paired with movement. Even light activity, like walking, leg raises, or resistance exercises, becomes exponentially more effective when muscles and nerves are supported. Conversely, exercise without proper nutrition often stresses the body further, potentially worsening fatigue and weakness. The combination of targeted nutrition plus gentle movement is what produces rapid, lasting improvements. Finally, early action is everything. Nerves are dormant, not dead. Muscles are weakened, not gone. Blood vessels are constricted, not collapsed. The sooner you intervene with proper nutrients, hydration, and movement, the more complete the recovery. Delay allows damage to become permanent, with scar tissue forming, microvessels disappearing, and regenerative capacity declining. The take-home truth: leg weakness is not inevitable with age, it is a warning system. If you feed your body what it has been missing, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and healthy fats, your legs respond first. And when your legs rise, everything else follows. Mobility, confidence, metabolic health, and quality of life. Your legs are waiting for a signal. Give them the right nutrients, restore blood flow, support nerves, and rebuild muscle, and you'll not only regain strength, but reclaim independence, energy, and vitality. Age does not define weakness, your daily choices do.